All right, legends. I know. I know this one has been really, really, really anticipated since the first part of the relocating, whether you stayed stateside or just moved from state to state or to another country. I apologize for the wait, but I had to get all the information together and I had to figure out how to present the information so it came off as understandable and is useful. That's the best word, useful as possible. Let's engage. Okay, mission in brief. Why would anybody want to relocate? Things to consider. International Living Retirement Index for 2023. That is one of my favorite publications. You'll see why. Factors they've reviewed. We're going to look at a few countries because there are so many different locations, climates, cultures out there that's really going to be up to you to dwindle it down. Sites you can use to help you do your own research. Retirement calculator. There's different podcasts. There's local news. You always want multiple sources. That's what the M stands for, multiple sources. Then there's Peniciato or pension programs out there. Then there's incentives to relocate. And then there's countries out there that will actually pay you to move there. Let's engage. Okay, why relocate? Better job opportunities, more job opportunities, better educational systems. When we were stationed in Germany, the DODS, which is Department of Defense school system, was outstanding. One of the best ones in the world for us. But then we all know, take TikTok for example. We know the TikTok that we get. We know the TikTok that China gets. The school systems out of the United States are totally different. When our youngest was in pre-K in Costa Rica, he had Spanish class. You're talking 4 years old. He had Spanish class, computer class, and pre-kindergarten. You cannot get that in the United States. I don't care if you went to private school or not. You're not going to get Spanish as a second language. It's just amazing the different options you have when you move outside. Okay, better living standards, improved healthcare, new opportunities, new lifestyles, new directions, moving for your significant other, your family, because you can. It doesn't matter if you're single or you have your family. We all picked up, the whole family picked up and moved to Costa Rica. Gone. It's easier to travel to certain locations. Say you want to be, you love nature and you want to go live in Ecuador. So you move to Ecuador and then you can go to Galapagos Island. It's just so many options. It's easier to travel, like I said, and then Me Too. My thing that is the me Too is memories, making memories, and enjoying experiences. And then it's of course a square, M and EE. It's a square, so it's Me Too. And that's what life is all about: is having the ability to make memories and enjoy the experiences with your family and your friends. It's just amazing. Okay, let's continue because it's going to be a while. Okay, things to consider. Consider this: the government, the cost to relocate, the cost of living. Of course, location, location, location. You don't want to move all the way to another country knowing that you have elderly parents or something that you need to be going back and forth, back and forth. That's going to cost a lot of money. So things like that you need to consider. The new employer, if you're going to plan to work, what kind of boss are you going to have? Job prospects. You need to look beforehand before you make that move. The language requirements. Then when we moved to Costa Rica, and even though I learned in that time how to get gas. I could go to McDonald's or a restaurant and order some food and things like that. So I could have did better, but of course, my wife's from Puerto Rico, so it was easy for her because she's fluent. The cultural differences. Do you have an issue with the culture? These are the things that you need to consider before you even put it on your list, and the different types of programs that they're going to have for you to retire there easily. All right, here we are. The International Living's 2023 Global Retirement Index by the numbers. And as we see, numero uno was Portugal. I'm not going to go through the whole list. You can see it here. Now, your country that you really want to go to may not even be on the list. So you're going to have to do your own research. Like I said, you don't have to go with anybody's list. I'm just providing some resources so you have at least a starting point. You see Costa Rica's right here. Like when we considered back in 2004, when we first started thinking about retirement and where we wanted to go, our list was pretty short. It was Costa Rica, Panama, Belize. Oh man, I think that was it. I think there was, and maybe the Dominican Republic. It ended up being Costa Rica. It was a great choice, and like I say, I loved it. Now there goes Belize. There's Ronta and Honduras. There's so many locations. Okay, let's continue. So you can see here now what International Living did. They looked at different topics or different um, subjects: housing, the visa and the benefits, the cost of living, the affinity rating, the development and the governance. How developed is it? Is it a third world country where you have to go out and pump your water for you to take a shower every day or to get some water out of the ground? That's what they're talking about, the development, the climate, healthcare, and then they took an average. So like Costa Rica, housing, I don't know why it's 60 because there's plenty of housing. There's brand new condos, cost of living 68. And see, the cost of living is really relative to what your budget is. If you're making $10,000 a month, $1,000 a month is only 10% of your budget, so that's not expensive. Now, if you're only making $5,000 a month, that's a bigger impact on your budget. So things are relative. So that's what I'm saying. When you sit down and do all your strategizing for your location, those are the things you need to factor in. And development, like I said, Costa Rica, there's some parts of the country that are not as more advanced as the bigger parts, the capital and things like that. And of course, in those locations, healthcare is a big difference. All right, let's continue on. Okay, so they did the overview, then they went like the visa and the benefits, the cost of living, the climate, the healthcare, and then they did the average. So these were some of the slides. The financial, this was the housing, the visa benefits, cost of living, and the average. The affinity ratings, the climate, the healthcare, again, the average. Okay, let's get to some of the resources here. Now, like I stated, for me and my wife, the international living was the starting point. Well, okay, let me get it. Let me back up a bit. House Hunters International from HGTV is where it actually started from. I was watching the TV that day. I saw a guy and his family in Costa Rica. I told my wife, that looks outrageous. I mean, outstanding. I said, let's go visit. We went to go visit in 2004. No, 2002. No, not 2002. We got to Arizona. Yeah, 2004. I can't remember. I'm all mixed up now. Anyhow, we went over there. We said, okay, that's it. The first time we went, we bought a manzana. I can't remember how big a manzana is. I think it's like 4 acres or something, overlooking the ocean. Ooh, it was nice. Then in 2006, okay, well, I think we went in 2006 because we took our kids over in 2008. We were stationed in Germany. We flew our kids from Germany to Costa Rica so the kids could see it for the first time. The kids loved it. That was that. Then it was time to have a baby. My wife was like, okay, wait, we can have him in Costa Rica. We're like, okay, let's go. So we had our youngest there in Costa Rica, and the rest is history. He's a dual citizen, da 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 da. But International Living I've been getting the magazine over here on the right. Man, it's so packed full of information. It's crazy. So you have books out there. You have the website itself, internationalliving.com. Then you have the monthly magazine that comes out. And I think it's like $40 a year for the magazine. It's so much information in there because there's so many different locations. It's crazy. Let's continue. Now, as you can see, these are from International Living from the website. Then they break down, we're just going to go through these. Living in Honduras for $2,000 a month. Now, legends, since we already in drip, we already know if you have your passive income set, you're good to go. And this is what I'm saying, especially if you intend to fire. Having that passive, consistent, sustainable, and level passive income is it. So at $2,000, you see you can survive here in Roatan, Honduras. There's Crete in Greece. We visited there as well. San Miguel de Allende in Mexico. I'm not going to go through all these. You guys can do this yourselves. Then there's Malaga, Spain, Lisbon, Portugal, and of course, Costa Rica. And like I said, we had a 4-bedroom, 3.5 bath condo in the Central Valley in Heredia. See, this is what they call the Central Valley in Heredia. That's where the capital and everything is at. And we paid $1,000 a month. There was no heat, no air conditioning because you didn't need it. All we had was a couple of fans, and that was it. It was 75 degrees every single day. Now, if you wanted some heat, all you do is drive to the Pacific side, which is an hour and a half, or to the Caribbean side, which is an hour and a half, to the beach, and it's 100 degrees, 90 plus every day. So those are the different options. So a $2,500 budget was plenty. $1,000 for all of your living part. I think we paid $15 for water. Electric, oh man, electric might have been $40 a month, and then cable was $40 a month. And that was it. Now, the expenses came in relations to food because I'm so Americanized. If I wanted my box of Apple Jacks, it was $7 back then for a box of Apple Jacks compared to $3.50 here. So it just depends on your lifestyle. Let's continue. Okay, then they went to the 15 best islands in the world to retire. Malta, Spain, or Mallorca, Spain, Malaysia, Roatan, Honduras, Ireland, Diego Las Terrenas in Dominican Republic, Crete, Greece, Cozumel, Mexico, Belize, Vietnam, Belize, Mexico, Thailand, Indonesia, and Isla Colón in Panama. Oh, man, it's just so many locations. Then, of course, the digital nomads, if you're over 50, and the 5 best Caribbean islands, Belize, Honduras, Mexico, Dominican Republic, and Panama. It's just so many different things. And again, these are some other resources. International Living, that's their website. Live and Invest Overseas is another great one. Transitions Abroad. Oh my goodness, that one is packed full of information. And you could break it down by location, by your lifestyle, by your budget, and all kind of different things. Okay, this is Live and Invest Overseas. Like I said, you have all your countries, you have budgets. Like if my budget is this, they give you these locations. Then real estate, archives, how to make money in those locations. Different conferences. So they have a conference, say they have a conference in Costa Rica. And you can go, you and your partner, or if it's just you can fly down, go to the thing, get all the questions answered. They take you on a tour so you can see everything. Then, of course, there's the bookstore. Now, International Living had the 50 ways to make money. I'm not going to go through all of that. I will put the link in the description, of course, for my legends, but I just put the top 7. You can sell photos. You can create how-to videos, travel writing, teach English. You can create a podcast. You can become a tour guide for yourself or work for another company. Now, you already know how L7 feels about fitness. Fitness comes before everything. That is the biggest asset that you have is your health and wellness. So if you're already in shape and all that kind of good stuff and you enjoy working out, you could become a personal trainer. You become a coach, a fitness coach, or you can become a therapist. Man, there's so many yoga places in Costa Rica and retreats and all kind of stuff. You can just so many opportunities to do what you want to do. And of course, when you go and you relocate, you want to do exactly what you want to do. Whatever you can, and change it every 30 days. You can change it and change it up if you choose to. That's the benefit of having it on your schedule and being able to move on your schedule, relocate, and do what you want to do, not what somebody else wants you to do. Here is the calculator. This, like I say, these are not end all be all. These are just dApps, sites and apps that can help you to narrow it down. Because like I say, there's so many locations. Because some people, like, I still don't understand, but I know a lot of my military brothers and sisters that got stationed in Alaska. For me, I hate the cold weather. But because if they talk negative 60 below. Like I say, if it's that cold that you have to plug in your radiator to your car every night, that's too cold. Or you spit and this freezes before it hits the ground, that's just too cold for me. But they loved it. So like I say, everybody has their cup of tea, I guess you can say, of what they want to do and what they like. So that's what I'm saying. It's going to be totally up to you. And another thing, you have to understand, you're not like down. Even if you chose Alaska, you said, okay, I'll stay here for Alaska, then you want to relocate to another place, then you go. Good example. In before we had the pandemic, me and my wife had already decided before, because our oldest was just about to graduate. It was like, okay, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go and spend a year in Aruba, a year in Bonaire, and a year in Curacao. We would come back in 2023, the summer of 2023, when it was time for our youngest to start high school. That was the plan. And of course, we had the pandemic. They locked everything down. We couldn't travel. Then each of the countries had their own regulations, and that was the end of that plan. But that was our initial goal, was to do that. And just to provide something new for us, and something, of course, for our youngest, to be able to live somewhere else again, overseas. Because there's just so many things to see. And the reason I picked Aruba, because I fell in love when we went to vacation in Aruba. I fell in love with Aruba. My wife fell in love with Curacao. We was like, listen, it's the ABC Islands. Let's just go ahead and spend 3 years in that location. If we like one more than the other, we can always stay longer or whatever. Options. So again, just go here. It's supposed to say complete the questionnaire and all the different questions, and it'll just help you narrow it down. And like it says here, don't stop dreaming and planning for your future. The global crisis won't last. We already know that. And the best thing to do with your time right now is to think ahead. Legends, you already know. Stay ready. Excuse me. When and where will you retire? Let us help. Nobody's talking about you have to retire, because you can retire at 25. Like my son, he says 25. He'd be 21 next month, and he's almost there. For more than 40 years, National Living has been a leading source for intelligence about the world's best places to retire. So it says, I'm skipping to the last paragraph. So based on your age, your savings, and the projected annual retirement income, our quick and easy and free overseas retirement calculator will point you in your best global retirement destinations. And don't worry, it's totally anonymous. We don't ask for your name or any contact information. I'll have the link in the description. Now, like I said, there's podcasts out there. If you're serious about firing and relocating, start listening to podcasts and call in, get your questions answered. That's what we did, man. Because we didn't have anybody in Costa Rica when we went there. We picked up. It was just yes, we did. Yes, we did. We knew the people that ran the bread and breakfast that we stayed in the 3 times we went before we moved there, so they helped a lot. So we already had somewhere to stay while we was looking for the condo when we went the final time and all that kind of stuff. Then, of course, there's the local news, the Costa Rica Times, the other website is the Tico Times. So find out all these different things and get the information. Of course, you got to take it with a grain of salt, because we know how mainstream media is. And, like I say, narrow it down. Now, okay, we're going to take a look at the Peninsula programs. Let's go. All right, legends. So now we're going to take a look at just 3 Peninsula programs that are out there. Of course, once you decide on your location, you're going to have to check in there yourself. Now, the Peninsula program has lots of different factors depending on the country. Some has age restrictions that you have to be a certain age in order to qualify. Some don't. Then each country has their own income requirement, and others don't. Now, I know when we relocated to Costa Rica laws are a lot different, and I respect them a whole lot. Like, one example is when we moved there, me and my family could not move there and take a job from a Costa Rica citizen, period. Like, I could not go there and go to work at McDonald's if I wanted to and have to take the spot of a Costa Rican. It doesn't work like that. The only place that seems to be like that is the United States. So there's a lot of different factors. And then when it was time to go to Costa Rica, we had to go to Houston, to the Costa Rican embassy, do the paperwork, showing that we weren't criminals and all that kind of good stuff. I had to verify my income and everything, because we were applying for the Costa Rica. We were applying for the Peninsula program there. So we're going to just cover 3 brief ones here. So this is Dominican Republic. So like here, who can apply? Pensioners, foreign and domestic citizens who receive a monthly income from a pension or retirement from a government, agency, or private company of foreign origin. So this is their requirements. And there's a waiver. Okay, requirements by law pensioners. So in the DYOR, the pensioner and rentees interested in benefiting from the facilities that offer this law should receive a monthly income of not less than $1,500. That's legends. For us, with the passive income, that should not be an issue. And then the rentee shall have a monthly amount of $2,000 under this act. Possibly a working, the pensioner in the covenants law may have a recurring work. I'm not going to relocate to go to work. So once you decide on the country, you're going to have to look and see what the countries are, because there's so many different factors that come in. Okay, so that was the DR. So like if I want to go to DR, DR is no problem. Then let's look at Costa Rica. So of course, Costa Rica was great. Now, in Costa Rica, you just needed to have an income of $1,000. There is no minimum age to qualify, and that includes the spouse and the children under 25. So when we moved there, it was me, my wife, my daughter, and both sons at that point. So it's the three kids. And the permanent. Now, the fact that my youngest son was born there made a big difference too, because he already had citizenship. So he's a dual citizen. Now, due to him having dual citizenship, we could only get residency, and then we had to reapply every 2 years. I tell you, once you ventured out of the United States is the only country that allows you to come here and have a kid here, and the rest of the family become citizens. It does not work like that anywhere else. We had to renew our residency every 2 years in Costa Rica. And it says right here, the permit, okay, so the proof of the income, no problem, no minimum age, under 25. The permit has a validity of 2 years and may be renewed on condition that you still meet the requirements. For renewal must be proved that the income has been received in Costa Rica and you have lived in the country at least 4 months to that year. So, well, like I say, each of these countries are going to have different requirements. Now here, permanent residency must be renewed every 5 years. So we were there. Once you have legally resided in Costa Rica with any temporary residency permit for 3 more years, you may be eligible for permanent residency. So we stayed for 3 years. So I guess if we would have stayed a little bit longer, we could have applied for permanent residency. But it's all good. And like I said, it's really amazing for your kids to have dual citizenship, 2 passports. Anyhow, after 7 years, so like I said, there was requirements, no nationalities, dual citizenship. Here, like it says right here, you are not required to renounce your previous nationality to become a citizen of Costa Rica. And then your documents that they require here, which we had to bring to the consulate in Houston. It's going to depend on where you are, you know. Then of course the benefits, the citizen benefits. It was really, I guess it seemed like a lot in the beginning because we had to do some driving and everything, but it was well worth it. When we got there, like I say, it is what it is. And then let's just take this last one. Look here at Aruba. Now Aruba is a little bit different. See, so Aruba, how can you retire permanently? Okay, see, in Aruba, to be retired with the guaranteed income, you have to be 55 or older. You must receive the monthly income from a pension abroad. See, so you're going to have to look at the different programs that they have. Now, along with the Peniciado programs, there's a lot of other programs that kick in, like Panama. I'll go into that in another one. All right, let's go back to the MP. Now, in reference to the Peniciado programs, as you saw, you got to take into account the location, your age, your income, and the medical. Because some Peniciado programs have an age requirement, 55 and over. Some don't. So you gotta, like I say, you gotta pick and choose. Next up, incentives. And when I talk about incentives, hold on, you're gonna see. Let's go. As I was saying, each country has different benefits. These are probably the 2 best that I've seen since I actually moved to Costa Rica. And this was one of the things that we took into account, but we really didn't take into account for Costa Rica. Like when I took my Suburban with me, it cost $7,000 to take the ship the Suburban down to Costa Rica. Then it was like another $4,000 for me to register the vehicle in Costa Rica. And my wife did the same thing with her Dodge Charger. It was a lot of money. It was crazy. And I guess 2020 hindsight, we wouldn't have done it that way. We would either left the cars here or sold them or just purchased something there. I don't know. But, whatever. It's all good. Now, when I came back, I did sell it and got me another Suburban when I got back. But here's what I'm talking about with the top two that I've found. Like I said, you're going to have to do your own research. I'm only giving you guys just the tip of the iceberg. You have to go underwater and see what all the rest of the details are. Panama. Look at the benefits from Panama. You can import tax for household goods. Tax exemption to import a new car every 2 years. Like I just said, in Costa Rica, $7,000. 25% discount on your utility bills. 25% discount on tickets, on your airline tickets, 30% on other transportation, 15% discount on loans you take in your name, 1% reduction on your mortgage, 20% discount on doctor's bills, 15% on hospital services if you don't have any insurance, 15% off dental and eye exams, 10% off medicines, 20% off discount on bills for professional and technical services, 50% discount to go to the movie theater, 50% discount on hotels Monday through Thursday, and 30% on the weekends. It's just so many different things out here, legends. And like I said, I know people here and they have never even left the state. I guess like the old saying, you can't miss what you never had. But being in the military and living overseas in Germany and living in Costa Rica, it's and then traveling all over the world vacation wise, it is just so much to see out there, so many things to do. Okay, let me continue. Okay, so we looked at Panama. Let's take a look at Belize. So here's Belize program. They have what they call the QRP program, which is the Qualified Retirement Program. Belize has one of the world's best retiree programs, is what they say too. Like I said, and this has been this way for a long time. So here's some of the incentives and benefits. You get the QRP resident card. The QRP and their dependents shall receive the QRP resident card that entitles them to remain in the country and allow multiple entries into the country with no visa. Duty exemptions. Here we go again. QRP members shall be entitled to duty exemptions of the following items for personal use only within the first year of acceptance into the program. Your household goods, a boat, aircraft, your vehicle. Taxes in the QRP shall be exempted from all taxes and duties on incomes received from a source outside of Belize, capital gains tax, and inheritance tax. Man, I'm telling you, there's so many things out here. It's just crazy. The QRP card, it's just So like I said, once you narrow it down to your top three, if you're single, it's whatever you want to go. If you're a couple, you narrow it down to the top three, and then you need to break it down. Like I said, definitely go over things I said to consider, and then break it down to really what you need and what you want to do. If you want to swim and snorkel all the time, you want to go somewhere like Belize. Look at that water. It's just really depends on what you want to do in retirement, because I don't think anybody really wants to relocate to another place and then work all day. That's not having any fun. But to say you moved to Belize or Panama, you're close to South America, you're in Central America, you could go to the Galapagos, Ecuador, Venezuela to see. I told my son I'd always want to take him to Angel Falls in Venezuela, the highest waterfall. There's just so many factors to factor in when you're making that decision. And and one thing you have to remember, you are not locked down. Like I said, we had planned to spend a year in Aruba, a year in Bonaire, a year in Curacao, come back to the States when it was time for my son to go to high school. All the things got messed up due to the fact COVID came. So that changed the plans big time, because at that point we couldn't go nowhere. So we scrapped those plans. But that was our plan. You are not locked down to one location. You could spend 1 year in this location and then move, another year and then another. Do what you want to do. That's the whole purpose of being able to fire. And then depending on if you do need extra income, which you shouldn't, if you fire correctly, you won't need any extra income. But if you do, being a travel writer, selling your photos or anything like that, you can make extra income no matter where you are. All right, let me continue. All right, go back to the MP. Now you saw what I'm talking about, the incentives. Now, before we close up here, there's 7 exciting countries that will pay you to move there. Spain, Italy, Greece, Ireland, Chile, New Zealand, I can't pronounce that, in the UK. Do your research. This is 100% on you. I just plant the seed. It's up to you to water and fertilize it. It's up to you. I can't do it all. But as a matter of fact, I think Japan also came up with a plan to pay people to move there. It's crazy. It's just so many options out there. It's unbelievable. And best believe, me and my family are looking at, and we're planning on it right now. So of course, get your passport. We know that the passports are taking long to get. Get it, even if you get it and you're not even planning on going anywhere, just get it so you already have it ready for you. Because the younger your family member are, they only last for like 2 or 3 years, compared to like a grown up one. I think is 6 years or something like that. So do what you got to do, because like I say, legends don't get ready; they stay ready. So as you know, this is for informational, educational purposes only. This is never intended as any type of financial advice, because I'm not a financial advisor. Again, I apologize to my legends for taking so long to get this second one out. And I'm always in the lab, and I'm always going to take care of the legends and give you that information that makes you say, I didn't know about that. Let me consider it. That's what I want to do. Like I said, this is pure edutainment. I am here to give you something to think about, not do no regular stuff. I'm here to give you something to think about, something different. So again, what we covered was, why would anybody want to relocate? We talked about things you need to consider. We went over the retirement index from 2023 for international living and the different factors that they reviewed. We looked at a few countries, and then we gave some of the sites that you could use to do your own research. We saw that retirement calculator. We talked about the podcast, local news, the Peninsulato programs or rentee programs, different incentives to relocate. Then we even talked about them 7 countries that will pay you to move there. Options, legends, options, options, options. So I'm going to end that right here. Like I said, all the links will be in the description. And like I said, all I ask is that you please like, share, comment, subscribe. And to all of my legends, do your research. Like I said, the time is now to do your research, narrow things down, cross-reference with your financial standing, correct and adjust where needed, then proceed to do what you need. And to all of my legends, engage.